スの根源、銀河系のあらゆる生命をつなぐエネルギーとは。
光と闇のしてはバランスは存在しない。
私はどうしたら。
フォースと共にあらんこと。
Welcome, Masters and Padawans, to episode 608 of Full of Sith. It's me, Bryan Young, a host of the show, and with me, as ever, as myself, overworked Holly Frey.
Which is my own fault.
Likewise.
If I could just stick to one job, I'd probably be okay, but I am greedy and I have to have many.
Yeah, same.
You know, I got a lot of cats to raise and a droid habit that I need to support, so these are the wages of sin.
Those droids aren't going to charge themselves.
They aren't. I've tried. They're very lazy.
Yeah, they aren't going to do that on their own. And they're not going to make their way to your house by themselves either.
I mean, they do if I order them. Right? I have not opened it yet, but I did recently receive the Christmas edition RC droid from Shop Disney, which I guess is now DisneyStore.com again.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very excited about it. But I haven't, like I said, I haven't opened it yet. So it just came to my house. A very nice UPS driver dropped it off.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess that's interesting. So today's episode, I know you've got a report from Halcy-Con that you'll give us at the end of the show, and we'll probably get more in depth maybe next week or on a future show about the hunt for Ben Solo.
Yeah,
because that's a whole can of worms on its own. But
super true.
But today, as you're listening to this, is the release of Star Wars Vision Season 3.
Yeah, which I'm so excited about.
And Holly and I have both watched all of it.
Yes.
And that's what we're going to talk about.
Yes.
We're just going to talk about all of it. And that's really what we're going to dedicate the show to today. Not that I don't want to talk about Hunt for Ben Solo, or more.
We have time for that.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a lot of time to talk about Hunt for Ben Solo is my prediction, because I think that's one of those stories that's not going to go away.
Well, and it's interesting, the further we've gotten from it, the more information has come out too. So there's actually been more to talk about every day we've gotten further from the story.
Exactly.
So Visions. I'm wondering, first off, just overall impressions of this season as a whole.
I really enjoyed this season. And I will say, we talked briefly after Celebration Japan, the preview that we had gotten there that showed snippets of some of these and some production art and concept drawings and whatnot of it. And the one I was most excited about, I remain the most excited about. So I'm very delighted by this crop of them. And honestly, the one that I was like, I'm sure I'll like it, but I wasn't like ratcheted up about it, I really loved. So
which one was that?
That was the follow-up to the Duel.
Oh yeah, no, I loved that one.
I was like, oh, I'm sure I'll like this. It's beautiful style, but I just didn't anticipate being as kind of enchanted by it as I was. Yeah.
I think this season really turned up the dial from season one. And I think part of that is I wonder if the studios all had a chance to look at what everyone else did with season one and said, oh, this is what they're letting us get away with. And they all got to dial it up.
Yeah, and I mean season 2 was also had some interesting stuff that was very different
Yeah.
from season 1. So it's fun to see the progression of, one, just different studios doing different stuff. And two, when they are studios that we've seen before, they're so much more bought into the whole story, it feels like, because we have seen them and like it went well. I imagine doing the first edition of this was a little nerve-wracking because you don't know how people will perceive and receive it. But now I think it's pretty well known that a lot of people love these, myself
Yeah,
included.
no, it was interesting watching the behind the scenes of the first season where all of the filmmakers were very much like, we're not sure why.
Right?
Like, we're not sure what we're doing, and like, we don't know what
The
the
rules are.
yeah, like, what's going on here, like, how this is working. Um, but now it feels like everybody kind of has their feet on the ground and knows what's going on and they know what they can get away with and they all executed really beautifully
Mhm.
even when that stuff comes out of left field like black really feels like um yeah
We're
it just
we are gonna talk about
yeah.
black.
Do we want to go in order? I've got notes for all of them and we could just
I
go
do
in
too,
order.
and my notes are in order.
Yeah, so why don't we just start in order with episode one, which is the duel payback, which is one of the sequels from season one. Um, and the dual payback is also the first episode of Visions that we saw in season one, and it's that black and white Kurosawa style with the very limited color palette episode.
Yeah, it's like largely black and white, but punctuated by colors when those choices make sense. There was more use of color in this one than the first one, which was pretty
Yeah.
interesting.
I really love the story in this. It does a lot more Star Wars, but it also does a lot more Kurosawa. Um, and it extends the Yojimbo story a little bit
Yeah.
more. In the first one, we kind of had that moment where um, the Ronin comes into um, the restaurant, and the Sullustan is the one kind of giving him the story about what's going on between all the warring factions, and then he goes and fights um, the other Sith, and that's very much it has its visual roots in Yojimbo. But in this one of my favorite moments in Yojimbo is when the Ronin totally gets it. Or in Yojimbo is when Toshiro Mifune's character gets his ass kicked and needs to go heal for a while,
Yeah.
and then comes back. And everybody thought he was kind of like dead, or they totally beaten him, and then he was never going to come back. And in this, he gets rescued by Ewoks, and they're the ones who,
Yub nub, baby.
yeah, they're the ones who nurse him back to health. And then you get this really great inversion of Return of the Jedi,
Yeah.
where the Ewoks are like, we're gonna help the Sith take down the Crusaders and the Jedi, and like the way they use all the classic Star Wars sounds and the way they I don't know, like it's this really beautiful thing where they blend all those classic Kurosawa elements and they blend all those classic Star Wars elements and the sounds and the visuals and stuff that it just worked so well for me.
Yeah, I was very, very jazzed about the inversion of it, right? Where the machine man that would be Vader in our regular Star Wars galaxy that we know is in fact a Jedi in this one, but like a Jedi whose ideology has clearly been tainted. And the design of it is so creepy.
Yeah.
Um, because of the way he assembles his own face and it always has this weird smile. It's like a little bit horror movie, It borrows from those Japanese influences you just talked about. It's a really fascinating exploration because there are so many things about it. I'm trying to think of the best way to say this that won't sound at all like I'm being pejorative, because there are so many things about it that are clever and interesting that I think in the hands of a less skilled team, it could come off as like um messy or just kind of being too heavy-handed, but it's so perfectly executed that it all works beautifully. Um, I mean, the flip of the AT-AT or AT-AT, if that's your preference, upside down and the feet being these platforms of battle and then accidentally getting activated so they're moving around.
Yeah.
Genius.
The design of everything here works
Obsessed.
so well. I was really surprised by how well so many of the uh animators used AT-ATs.
Yeah.
In fact, in episode 2, I'm sure we'll get into it, like the use of AT-ATs in episode 2 were so cool.
Yeah.
Um, the animation here is really what elevates this because it has that classic film style and that 2D vibe, even though it kind of has that 3D motion to it now and again.
Yeah.
Um, that they're showing off with the medium as much as they are with the themes. And the blend of the two makes it the greater than the sum of its parts.
Yeah.
And it's just it really does work so well. And it says something interesting about Star Wars and Sith and Jedi and balance and um what's good and what's evil and
Yeah.
things like this in a way that you really couldn't do without this sort of remix.
Yeah, it's I think that's probably why I love Vision so much is that it explores the storytelling and the language of Star Wars in a way that is different from anything we've seen in the standard canon storytelling, and that is fresh and unique, and it offers you a perspective you are never going to get if you are just watching the rest of the story as we have all known it for so long. Um I mean, listen, do I love that this kind of feeds into my whole like the Jedi aren't as great as people think thing? Yes. Thank you, confirmation bias. Um, oh man, but it's so beautiful.
It really is. I think that um this is one of those episodes where just every frame is a work of art. And I don't know, just like the stuff with his droid, the stuff with like I don't know. I was surprised, like actually I've been surprised we've been talking about this episode for like 10 minutes and you haven't brought up his droid at all. And you're the droid
Well,
person.
I am the droid person. I was gonna say this will also fall very much in my wheelhouse. That I love one of the things I love the most about this and its predecessor is the way that this team renders different species of Star Wars.
Oh yeah,
Like they
yeah.
just look super beautiful and I really, really love it. Listen, there's some droid pain. Mostly I was like, wow, he's very strong because we see at the end he's carrying his astromech on his back and I'm like, those things are no joke.
Yeah.
The other thing that really stood out to me though is that the kind of big battle of it that happens in the last third of this vignette feels very much, and again, I don't mean this as a criticism. This is like cool as hell to me. It feels very much like a Battlefront level in the way
Mhm.
it's laid out. Do you know what I mean? Like when you were doing the battles on Kashyyyk in Battlefront and you're like along the beach and then there was that walkway out to like a stanchion where you
Yeah.
could it felt very much like that in terms of how it was staged and it just made me love it all the more. I don't if you
There was
loved
this
Kashyyyk in Battlefront, You might
Well,
enjoy this.
there was this part of this moment too where it was like it felt like there was some inspiration from so much from Return of the Jedi too, where like it felt like this planet was sort of like controlled by the Wookiee that was there, and like he was the guy running the Ewoks.
Yeah.
And it felt like I don't know if they were taking the aesthetic of like what if Chewie had just stayed on Endor and decided to become king of the Ewoks, or it was some story about, oh well, the end battle in A New Hope was supposed to be all the Wookiees, but then we had to make it Ewoks, and it was some split between the two. But it was just, yeah, like there's something very Wookiee and Kashyyyk about it, but there's still Ewoks there.
Yeah. And the little dude that the Wookiee carries around on his chest. Who
Yeah,
doesn't love that?
it's just it was good, interesting stuff.
I concur.
So the next one, um, unless you've got anything else to say about the dual payback,
No, I think that's great.
episode 2 was the Song of Four Wings.
Yes.
And this is about Princess Crane on a planet called Jodes. And she's checking out like Imperial activity, and she finds this village destroyed by Imperials and finds this little adorable kid, this baby named Whoopus. And she's trying to you know, escape with him from the Empire, and with her droid, which is all just adorable. And this baby's a baby Gigaran.
That
With
droid is real cute too.
the droid is real cute, and it's got some like this episode. It feels very straightforward. Like you get into it, and like the animation's really gorgeous. And if I had to pick a word to describe this episode, it's just adorable across the board.
I wrote in my notes cute with like 7 U's.
I put adorable in all caps.
Yeah, the vibe of this, especially the way it starts out, right, feels a little bit lighter, especially coming out of the duel, if you're watching them all in one go or in chronological order. It's a bit lighter. There's an element of fun to it. This former princess, and it kind of, harkens back, of course, to Princess Leia, because she references like when the Mon Cal involved calls her princess. She's like, the monarchy doesn't even exist anymore. I'm not a princess. That's not what this is. I was like, oh, a little bit of Leia in there. But it's so sweet, and she's got a little bit of a rebellious vibe. But then, of course, it becomes like this incredible story with so much heart. Um, and coaxium.
Yeah. I love the transformation. Like there's so much in Japanese animation where you have like these really great animated transformations of robots,
Yeah.
right? And having her astromech turn into a wearable X-wing
Yeah.
that she can fly around to attack or evade these AT-ATs is adorable. And then having the baby Gigaran be force sensitive, that it literally has to plug in its firing computer,
Yeah.
was so adorable. And like the baby Gigaran is just so cute.
Oh gosh, yes. Well, and I
Um,
remember again at Celebration, we saw the concept art, I think, of the transformed astromech. And I just remember being like, "What?" And then to finally see it in the full rendering of the entire story was like really, really lovely. It kind of felt like, "Oh, this is the thing I've been waiting for." And also, where do I get one of this? Please, immediately.
yeah,
Thank
no,
you.
but I mean, for those people who are like, I just want like the cool, gritty stuff, like, even if you're not a fan of the cute stuff, like, there's stuff in this episode you're gonna like the AT-ATs bursting from beneath the ice and firing seismic charges all over the place.
Yeah.
That stuff is really cool. Like, there's some of that transformation element to the AT-ATs
Hmm.
that is just really cool, where it has that that sort of Gundam Robotech
Yeah.
um vibe to it, so that it's a little bit of an older kind of throwback style animation that's much different than the duel.
Yeah.
Um that is just really charming and interesting and fun.
Agreed.
Um that it's just like, this is just, you built in for a ride.
Yeah. Yep.
It's, yeah, it's worth it.
I'm
And
into it. I think it's sweet.
oh man, that baby Gigaran.
Very, very cute.
I didn't realize it was a baby either. Like, I thought it was just like, oh, this is just a little creature.
I did too at first. Um, and I love a tiny creature for sure in Star Wars. But they baby Yoda us a little bit.
Yeah, which is fine. Like, um, and I can imagine them going like, what could we make and try to make it cuter than Baby Yoda? And they're like, what about a Gigaran? And it's just this little white fluff ball with giant eyes.
Right.
And that's all it is. That's really all there is to it. And like a little helmet kind of thing, like a little floppy cap.
And origami.
Yeah, which was
I will tell you this as an origami girly. I was like, how on earth did they fold that thing? Because it has two sets of wings like an X-wing. And I've made literally thousands of paper cranes. And I'm like, I don't know how
the
realistic that
Force.
is. Maybe. Well, no, just like, I mean, it's more like is this two cranes folded, like a one crane folded out of two sheets of paper layered together? Like I got a little off track thinking obsessively about how that crane might have worked.
Yeah, it probably is two sheets of paper. It would
Everybody's
have to
like,
be,
Holly,
right?
it's faking in space. Nobody cares. I cared. It was really bothering me.
It's space agami.
It's forceagami.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. But I mean, that's not a criticism, just a how does this work? My little busy brain was very, very puzzled.
So I'll tell you straight up, episode three, the ninth Jedi, Child of Hope,
Yeah.
made me cry.
I mean, yeah.
Um, so this is a continuation of the ninth Jedi, which might have been one of my favorite episodes from season one.
hmm
And we're getting, and I'm still unclear in this. Are we getting a TV show or a movie to continue this story?
I'm not 100% certain either because at the time when we were in that panel, I came away initially saying we're getting a TV series. But then other people were like, that wasn't my perception. And I'm like, uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. Like and it was live. It wasn't like we could go back and like I don't know that that ended up on the stream. I didn't go looking for it. For some reason, I thought that wasn't part of the live stream that got archived. But so I wasn't sure.
Hmm.
And I guess we know we're getting more. We don't know the format.
So
At
there
least
is
you
a,
and I do not know the format.
yes.
Someone knows the format.
Um, we are getting a continuation of this story though.
hmm
Um, which is um it's really good. Um, like really good.
Agreed. And also, this one is painful. I mean, it's
Yeah.
so sweet, but there's a vein of melancholy that runs through this story that's very sad. I'm wondering if the part that start there are two parts that hit me very hard in this. I don't know how spoilery we're being here, but I will try to talk around it. The first part that made me very, very like like where your chest feels like it's going to collapse is when Kara has to explain to the droid that the thing he has been worried about for so long but unable to access has actually gone awry, and the thing that he has been hoping for cannot happen. Do you know what I'm talking about? Or did I
Um,
talk too far around it?
you talked too far around it, and I looked up where the confusion happened. in why we got confused,
Oh, about a series versus a movie?
because it's both.
Oh, there you go. That's why we
So
weren't sure.
so there's a spin-off series of longer stories from Star Wars Visions, and the first of the spin-off is Star Wars Visions Presents The Ninth Jedi. So it's a standalone of this kicking off the series of the spin-offs.
Which are longer,
Yes.
which is why we were thinking movie.
Well,
Um,
no, so it's a series of spin-offs.
uh-huh.
Does that make sense? So like this is one of the spin-offs. So like there's only one part of it.
Right, but it's longer form than what we've had
Yes.
before.
Yes.
That's why some of us came away
Yeah.
going, "Wait, were they talking about a movie?" Um,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
So the thing that I was talking about here, um, when they get to the part where the droid thinks he's gonna see his former master again,
Yeah.
and she has to deliver some bad news about how that is not gonna play out. That
Yeah.
was very, very heartbreaking because it happens kind of suddenly. Like
Yeah.
you're in a moment of elation, and then she has to be like, no. And it's really, really it's
Yeah.
it's deeply
Like
sad.
everything from that moment forward, because like him with the escape pod and then her realization on the other end
Yeah.
is rough.
Yeah. Yeah, this is definitely like this is either one to watch when you are in your feels and you need the denouement of just a good cry, or one to not watch when you are in your feels if you think that one more thing will break you.
Like I'm really glad, like the only thing that made me feel okay about getting to the end of this episode, especially kind of with where it ended and the journey she needs to go on,
Hmm.
is knowing that we are getting a continuation of the story.
Yeah.
Because I would have, if we would have left it there and not known that we were getting a continuation, I'd have been pissed. Um, because it leaves it wide open. It leaves you wanting more.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, because it's, yeah, you just want more. And it opens with a really cool space battle. Um,
Yeah.
like this one, just like they pulled out all the stops. They crammed a lot of really good or a lot of really emotional storytelling into this. And this is the end like of the sequels from season one.
Right.
So if you feel like you need to go back and rewatch any episodes from season one, this is the um
You want to do Duel and Ninth Jedi and you're
yep,
good.
and you're good. Episode 4 was
Yeah.
The Bounty Hunters, which had some of the best animation.
I thought so too. I really thought this one was beautiful in terms of the softness of it at times felt very Miyazaki, but then other times like the color choices felt a little bit more like modern anime. Um in terms of like the high contrast stuff. It was really, really beautiful.
Yeah, especially for a story that's a little um it's got a little bit of an interesting grit to the story,
Uh-huh.
and the some of the story concepts, like it does have some of that modern sensibility too, where like I love how the bounty hunter, her droid is like somebody messed with her droid, so it's got half of its programming is a medical droid and the other half is an assassin droid, and you almost never know which programming you're going to get with it.
Well, and I meant to look. That's two different people doing the voices, right?
I think so, yeah.
Of the droid in its two different states because it is so drastically different and it's a little bit wild, but also a really fun concept of like a droid that has multiple personality disorder, and they build in the idea that this droid is unstable because it has these two competing programming um systems in it, which is really, really interesting. As like just a story point for anybody, for any Star Wars, I think that's a really interesting idea.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if anybody wants to bring some of that to live action, I'm here for it, is what I'm saying. I will
It's
buy the toys.
it's dissociative identity disorder now though.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I really love the idea of the guy in the giant droideka too.
I mean, it seems like the obvious thing, right? We have seen these things be indestructible for so long. Why has no one put a saddle on it? Um, it makes it very scary though, too. Like the idea that someone could be that protected when they are doing evil.
It was just a really fun, gorgeously rendered episode. Um, and it had a surprising amount of pathos to it, and it went left when I thought it might go right. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
I was never quite sure what the bounty hunter character was going to do
Yeah.
because I don't think she was ever sure what she was going to do.
Yeah.
Which made it really interesting because it was like she was she was unpredictable because I don't think she knew herself very well.
Right. And well, this one, like the previous one, also starts out with a lot of action. It's kind of bookended by this person being in peril all the time because of their own choices. Which is interesting because then in that middle section where we see the story of this vignette actually play out, we see why she's making those dangerous choices and that it actually comes from a place of great heart and a sense of right and wrong, um, which is cool.
So episode 5 is Yuko's treasure, and this is one of my favorites.
I
Um,
suspected. I mean, when we saw the preview at Celebration, I thought this would be everybody's favorite because it's some of the cutest stuff of all time.
so it stars Billy the Bear, which is a droid with a microwave in his tummy, who's
Again, gimme toys, gimme
a a
toys.
giant bear, not just a little teddy bear, but like a giant bear who wears a cape and a cloak as though that's going to disguise him,
Yeah.
who has a full-size microwave in his tummy that can make Nuna roast turkeys. Um, who's protecting a little kid, who's on the run from pirates, and this little kid's an orphan, and these pirates are trying to get his treasure. And the pirates, it's funny, like they've got this really cool design. Like Foxeer is the main pirate, and actually in the English language version, Foxeer is voiced by Steve Buscemi.
Yeah.
Um, but it's almost got like this Rainbow Bright kind of vibe to it.
Yeah,
Um,
I could see that.
and it has so many like adorable, touching moments. Like the moment where um the kid and the older like street urchin kid are walking in the cave and the monster's behind them, and every time they turn around with their flashlight the monster stops.
Yeah.
Like I about died laughing. Like it had so much good like slapstick like old silent movie kind of comedy, and it had so much Saturday morning cartoon energy to it,
Yeah.
but it also had so much like touching pathos, especially when it came to that whole found family vibe, that
Hmm.
it's like everything Star Wars is about. Um, Especially when the bad guys turn Billy against him.
Yes. That was honestly the hardest part for me when he is does what he needs, like they do what they need to do to save Billy, thinking everybody else will want that and what they wanted was something else. there's a weird moment there. It's tiny. It's not a focal point of the story. But for me, I was like, oh, listen, I'm very sensitive lately. It's a stressful time in life. I feel like this is the skeleton crew of this group of stories
Yeah.
because it is a little rompier. It certainly has heart, but as you said, it has so many like really tickling, witty moments to it that are very funny. And it's sweet. And I want a Billy. I want a
Yeah.
bear.
No, I
I
think
want a bear
Billy's one of
droid that can cook me dinner.
he's one of the best like standout characters of this whole set. Like if they could figure out how to bring him into canon, I'd be all for it. And Foxeer was really cool too, like as a villain, like his design, his look, his sound, like and his henchmen were hilarious, like the Twi'lek and the other guy. Um no, it really does have like this Saturday morning cartoon vibe.
Yeah,
Um
really
but
fun.
it really had those touching moments like with the kid who like sells him out and then realizes how awful that was and then has to go help them and then like Yuko, who's the little kid, like has bears no judgment about that and is just like, you don't have a family either. Like you're part of our family now. Like it's just so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's really good. Um, that's the only one I've watched like multiple times so far. Because I had to pull Patty in and be like, you have to see this. Um, okay. Episode 6, The Lost Ones.
Yeah.
Um, So this one starts on probably the funniest, biggest laugh I got the entire time. And it starts with the Back to the Future Darth Vader
Right.
for no real reason other than just to get that laugh, I'm guessing.
Right.
Um, but this is about um a planet that sort of the Empire is destroyed by mining it for carbonite, and they let the carbon gas freeze a third of the planet in mining accidents and then just let the survivors waste away. And a lot of the episodes about sort of like the trauma of having to put down a master that's gone to the dark side.
Yeah.
Um, it was really good. It was I think that's what like I feel so repetitive this episode this whole series of episodes because like all of these episodes are so good.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing
The
like I
refrain
didn't
of "it was really good" is legit, like because they're all really good.
yeah, and I really do think all of these filmmakers brought their A game because they really did watch the last two seasons and went like, how can we do as good or better? And they all
Right.
have.
Yeah, I mean it all feels very much like a lot of creative freedom, which is great. This one was a little bit wild for me. I think of all of them, this left I want to say this left the least impression on me, but then I'm like, no, it didn't. It just left very specific ones that got my brain going in a different direction, and I found myself going, oh, I have to pay attention to what's going on screen, what's happening on screen right now. One was the way they treated that planet immediately made me think of Andor.
Yeah. No, I
Um,
went to Canary like immediately.
Instantly, yeah. I was just like, oh, there are so many planets that got treated this way. The other is more frivolous and silly, which is that F is, who's the main character, is, dealing with her past and her former master, who has some hair that I was just entranced by. I was literally like, what is going on here? I'm super into this, but I don't even understand it.
One of the things I really loved about this one was actually some of the spaceship work. The moment of the Star Destroyer Oppressor arriving from hyperspace was one of the um, great moments of animation in this whole season.
Yeah, I'd
I
agree.
just
It's pretty.
loved it. Like, I don't know how they accomplished it, if it was digital, if it was hand drawn, I don't care. It was just sort of breathtaking. And when it happened, it gave me that same sort of vibe as when um Connix looked up in Last Jedi and saw the Star Destroyers arriving
Yeah.
in orbit on Dakar.
Yeah.
It was just good.
Concur.
And I mean, the lightsaber fight was pretty cool, especially as it filtered through their past story and their current story, and um, I don't know, just the rescue and the ship blowing up, and I don't know, it was cool. It was cool.
Yeah.
Um, Episode 7 was another standout. This was the smuggler.
Yeah.
Um, this felt of all of the Star Wars, this felt like the most Star Wars in some ways, where it felt very classic, like hidden fortressy, like here's a smuggler, here's this story about a prince trying to escape and the general trying to help them escape, and the smuggler who's kind of bad at stuff gets involved and needs to help them escape. And the smuggler girl is just really charismatic and charming and interesting. And the Jedi is really interesting. And actually, in the English language version, actually, Judith Light voices the Jedi.
Yeah.
Um, and she's really cool because like it has that moment which is like almost a cliche at this point, like where it's like, is she a Jedi? Like, and people kind of hint at it, and she's like, nope, the Jedi are all dead. And then it gets to that moment where like all hope is lost, and then she pulls out the lightsaber.
Right.
Um, but and the prince is like on the run and hidden because he's like the last of his line, and the Empire wants to kill him because like they need to control them. And um, like the animation's just so good, and like especially on the smuggler girl, like every shot, it felt like the only way this is going to sound like the nerdiest weird comparison,
Great. Bring it on.
but like how in Casablanca, every
Mm.
time there's a close up of Ingrid Bergman, you can tell that like every time the cinematographer went to do a close up of Ingrid Bergman, he spent 10 times more effort lighting and makeup. Like they spent 10 times more effort on makeup and lighting on Ingrid Bergman's close ups than any other shot.
That doesn't sound like a crazy comparison to me at all because I agreed. I every time I'd be like, "Huh, I'm not sure how I feel about the look. Oh, goodness, look at her. She's beautiful." Like I did the exact same thing throughout this entire
Um, okay, so I'm not like imagining that. That
No, not
was
at all. I had the same exact experience and I thought I might be crazy. So,
because that's, and it's understandable because I think Hitchcock did the same thing to her in Notorious. Like that's just like, I guess when you get Ingrid Bergman in a movie, like that's just what you want to do.
yeah,
Um,
I mean, I think probably some of it would be that if Ingrid Bergman is in your movie, they can't help it.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like she was
yeah,
so absolutely striking and compelling that probably any lighting designer, cinematographer, etc., just wanted to gaze at her as long as possible.
yeah.
Um,
It's
but
interesting too, like in Casablanca, like you can tell like it's always her looking screen right to left and always at this three-quarters angle. They always got like just exactly the right angle
yeah,
that every scene is blocked so that it gets that for her close-ups. Um, yeah, I've never studied all of the shots of Ingrid Bergman in Casablanca before. Like, who, why would I do that?
I
Um,
promise you're not the only one.
Yeah, no, and it's the same in Notorious, and it's the same. I don't know, but that's how I felt like they treated this smuggler girl.
Yeah, I agree. She was animated beautifully. I love the design of that character. It felt very like if you did a real world version of her, she could drop into any Star Wars um live action project and look right at home. Loved the design.
Um, Episode 8, The Birds of Paradise. This is sort of the first step out into left field, I think, for the episodes.
Yeah.
Um, it's very 3D animated, and I felt like this one was very reminiscent of Ahsoka's journey into the sea in on Cetos.
Yeah.
So it starts out with like this dark sider, like a Sith, is fighting a Jedi Master and his Padawan, and the Padawan gets struck down and goes through this journey of her mind and is facing her own weaknesses and a dark side version of this Sith and this toad creature who in the English language version is voiced by George Takei. Um, Guides her through all of this, and she has to face her own fears. Um, that's that's what it is. It's very abstract.
Yeah, and I this was an interesting ride for me because I remember um being really turned on to the art that they showed during their panel at Celebration. And then when this one started, this is just a personal taste. This isn't even a criticism. I didn't love the look of the initial enemy in like the first minute seconds of it. I was like, oh no, oh no, oh no. But then I ended up really loving the rest of it. So, it's very pretty. It's very there's so much nature in it because she spends so much of the story kind of wandering around in nature trying to find herself both literally and figuratively. And it's beautifully rendered, and I love the rendering of Takei's character. Um and it's also one of those things that's like incredibly touching and probably good for people to see and contemplate for themselves. You know what I mean? Like there are some good life lessons in this one, is what I'm getting at. Um
Yeah. No,
oddly moving at the end. Oddly moving.
yeah, no, this one was much more philosophical and metaphysical than any of the others, which is why I kind of feel like, yeah, it feels like Luke's journey in the cave or Ahsoka's journey in the Force on Cetos more than any of the Star Wars adventures, right? Like all the
Yeah.
others feel like they went straight Star Wars adventure, and this one's like, nope, we're gonna dive straight into the cave
Right.
on Octu.
We're gonna have some psyche talk.
Yeah. Um, and so that's why this one kind of felt to me like the first step outside of how the others feel like and I really love and appreciate how they ordered all of these. Like they obviously put a lot of care and effort into what order they guided you through this season.
Agreed.
And so this takes that first step towards something that's a little bit more abstract. And then we get to episode 9, which is Black. And Black, there's not like a narrative. Black, to me, it looks like it was hand drawn with markers. And it looks to me like it was like if you took a part of like the music montages in Fantasia mixed with like the style of like MTV's Liquid Television shorts and threw it in Star Wars with like stormtroopers, like limbless stormtroopers beating the hell out of each other. That's what Black is.
Well, I wouldn't say there's no narrative to Black.
Well, it's hard to explain a narrative.
I mean,
You're welcome to try.
I came away with a very clear narrative sense of it,
Okay.
which is that it is what flashes through this trooper's mind, like literally your life flashing before your eyes as you are about to die.
Yeah.
So to me, that's a perfectly fine narrative. I'm obsessed with this. I'm a little curious to see how it is received by the wider Star Wars fan base because I suspect a lot of people are not going to be down with Black. I could be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong, but it is such a departure. It is very, um, it's like a neo-expressionist, really, really intense, no dialogue, visual experience.
There are hints of it in the background, and actually those hints of it reminded me a little bit of THX 1138 a little bit.
Oh, I could see
And
that.
and actually it reminded me of the short film 2187. Um the Canadian film um short film that sort of inspired George Lucas to make THX 1138.
Right. Yeah, I could see
Um
that.
and so it has a lot of these Star Wars roots, and as a narrative, I don't disagree with your take on the narrative, and I kind of feel like you're absolutely right. But like as far as someone going like, what's the story? And then going like there's a cause and effect through each of the images, there isn't a lot of one. And I think that's
I,
more
s-
what I meant.
I disagree. I think you're
Okay.
watching the chronology of his life that got him to that moment.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna watch it again because I did love it.
Oh
I
my God,
was
I'm obsessed with it. I'm
I
obsessed. I
was
want to watch it 2,000 times.
I was very struck by it, and I was very moved by like the music, and I was very moved by like the the movement of the images and the way it all just flowed in and out of itself.
Oh, I think it's beautiful. I think it's so beautiful. I feel like this is I mean, this will sound crazy and it's a little hyper nerdy, and I'm sorry, this comes from like theater and film study major. It's a little Beckettian in the way it flows, which is again very much my vibe, right? Like my senior project when I was in college was a Samuel Beckett play that what like a one woman show that I did. So this is very much in my zone anyway, but like that idea of it's very much also in the realm of the way like Faulkner wrote, which will sound also perhaps a strange connection to people, but you know, that kind of like flow of emotion as imagery is something that I instantly connect to. Like to me that makes all the sense on earth. So I like I said, I'm very curious to see how other people perceive it because I don't think it's going to be as favorable as mine. I think a lot of people are going to come away and go, that was weird, but I think it's one of the most beautiful things that Visions has ever produced.
Yeah. No, I did really like it. I think as a piece of art, it's really great.
Obsessed, obsessed with this one. Obsessed.
So
I
we've got some time left.
Yeah, a little bit.
I mean, overall verdict on Visions, watch it.
For me, this is the best season.
Um,
And a lot of that is black, I'm not gonna lie. But I really, really loved it. And I also enjoyed the others a lot. So, I mean, I think if you only showed me black and the duel, I would still be like, this is an amazing season. And that's not to discount how good the others are. But for me, it just hit exactly right.
I think this is Visions turned up a notch.
Yeah.
Um, but last week
Yeah,
you went to Halcy-Con.
I did. I
Tell me
did.
about
This
that.
this was the second year that there's been a Halcyon. I'm not sure if we're getting another next year or not. But so Halcyon is a convention of people that love the Halcyon. And you know, love the Galactic Starcruiser. What's interesting is that there are I know there's at least one person, and I'm sure not that's not the only one. There are people that go that have been to this con, I think both years that never went on the Halcyon, but are very like fascinated by the story and really into the idea of it and the idea of immersive storytelling. It's a really fun con. It's unofficial. It's not put on by Disney or Lucasfilm. It is run by fans, which just makes it such an impressive feat because it really has some great programming. You know, like any other con, there are panels. I got to do a panel that was similar to one I did at Indianapolis, yeah, Indiana Comic Con, with Tom Spina. But this time it was me, my beloved Bryan, and Max Frey, who has been on the show before, who is not related to us but feels like it. And we talked about like building immersive spaces in your home, which is really fun. We talked about our cantina, and Max has been working on a little sabacc den in his house. We really talked through like, how those things go from the germ of a concept to actually becoming a place where you live and play, and that was really fun. I got to moderate the panel with Maria Sandoval, who is the hairstylist who designed a lot of great, amazing hair for Mandalorian and Ahsoka and Book of Boba Fett. Um, it was interesting. This year, the con, which was a little bigger than last year, felt a little more chill, which was nice. Um, there was like I said, there was a lot more programming. There was a lot more evening time programming. The Kyberpunks, who have been guests here on our show, played several times throughout the weekend, which was amazing. They did actually, because if anybody needs a refresher, the Kyberpunks are a band that is like an in-universe band that sings original pop songs and some covers in Huttese, and it's incredible. And they did a conversational Huttese panel that was spectacular. Um, there were lots of chances to just meet people and hang out and socialize. They had set up like a little lounge where there were some amazing drinks. It was just a really fun time. And then the last night was like several musical acts and a DJ, and like everybody was just kind of dancing and having the best time ever. Very, very fun. Great time to hang out. Made some new friends. F- Had the best time with friends I already had. It was wonderful. Wonderful.
That sounds like a great time.
The best, the best. Like I said, it's a really cool show. I spent so much money in the dealer's room that Amex kept texting me and being like, "For real? For real? Girl, is this also you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, shut up. I'm doing my thing." It was very funny. But that's the other thing that really I take away from Halcy-Con is one of the best things to me about Star Cruiser is how much it inspired people who were clearly already creative people in most cases. It's not like it just turned on someone's creativity. But I think in some cases, people didn't realize how creative they were and what they were capable of and how many unique and amazing things they could come up with. And I say that both in terms of like, the stuff in the dealer's room, some of which is just mind-blowingly good. Like I bought some of the most beautiful jewelry from a variety of vendors. There were several. And then also just like the way that people put together like their outfits, the way people choose to play with one another. It was just a really, really wonderful experience. There was a board game cantina, which is a cool account worth following. They are doing a cool thing that's a little germane to something you and I participated in recently. You and I did at Salt Lake Comic Con, at FanX, a panel about Star Wars role-playing games,
Hmm.
which I have never played. But I am now very interested in playing them. And one of the vendors there, Board Game Cantina, they are putting together, or they have put together, a really unique kind of on-ramp for people that maybe haven't done RPGs before, that is inspired by the Halcyon, but all of the proceeds for it are going to Alzheimer's research. And like the premise of the story is that you start out and you don't actually know who you are because your memory has been stolen, and you're building your character. It's almost like, it helps you. The first part of that story is helping you build your character so you don't have to roll up a character before you begin. You just get dropped in and you kind of discover the ways that you create your character as part of the gameplay, which is pretty cool. Um, because you're getting your memory back and you're learning things about yourself as you go, which is a great premise in my opinion. So if anybody thinks that sounds interesting, check it out. Board Game Cantina, I know, is on Instagram and some other places, but I know Instagram for sure. Just really cool and a really cool idea. And John, who created it, bless him, I think it was the first night of the con, we were all sitting around socializing outside of the actual con floor, and he came up and was sitting with us, and I asked him about it, and he explained so much to me and was so like just kind and generous with his time, and you can tell he so lovingly crafted this. So I will be getting my first installment of it soon. I'm excited.
That sounds great.
And then
I'm
I'm gonna
excited
be
for you.
trouble. But yeah, it's stuff like that. There's so many beautiful creative ideas that come out of this. And it's not unusual for them to be like that, where the benefit is not, hey, how can I make a buck? But like, how can I help the world by using my creativity to create something unique, which I love. Which isn't to denigrate anybody who's making money off their creativity. If you can do it, absolutely do it. We believe in paying artists in this household. But it was just, there's so much of that where a lot of people are trying to help others with their work and their ideas, which I think is kind of connected to that idea of immersive storytelling and play, of like community naturally comes out of that, and so you naturally want to help your community. I love everything about it. I love it. I love it. I hope there's more Halcy-Con. I'll be there every time.
So, with that, we've run out of time for this episode, and Halcyon sounds like a great time, Holly. I wish I could have been there. Where can people find you?
I am on Instagram as SurlyGirly5, and I'm on Blue Sky, although I'll admit I have not been very chatty on Blue Sky as of late. I've just been super busy, and I feel like I don't want to force posts when I'm just like kind of trying to keep my head above water with my schedule. But I'm there sometimes. But Instagram I'm on more often. And then of course history class, stuff you missed in history class, still going strong. We're about to take a bunch of people to Morocco. That should be fun. I also am filming ongoing for the History Channel for The Unbelievable with Dan Aykroyd, and then I don't know how much I can say, another project with History Channel. So look out for me there. How about you, Bryan?
I just had a new BattleTech book come out this week, called Outfoxed, which folks can get wherever they get books, or you can get it signed if you go to my website at swankmotron.com. You can find me on social media everywhere at swankmotron. I'm probably most active on Blue Sky, though. I don't know why, but I've been trying to keep my head above water. So if I'm not terribly active anywhere, that's why. Um, yeah, just have had a lot of stuff going on and a lot of deadlines, because I'm that busy guy too.
Yeah.
As far as Full of Sith goes, you can go to fullofsith.com and listen to the entire back catalog of episodes. And make sure you send us an email at holocron@fullofsith.com, and we'd love to get those messages from you. And be sure to rate and review the show wherever it is you listen to it. So, unless you think there's anything else, Holly,
That feels comprehensive.
then for super producer Mike Pilot and for Holly Fry, I'm Bryan Young, and the Force will be with you always.
Sir, if you'll not be meeting me, I'll close down for a while.